Welcome to another week with Montivino Valentine. I'm the co-founder of the Pride FX movement. Now, if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also like this video if you do find it interesting. Now, the reason why you need to press the notification button is so that you don't miss future videos we do post on this channel. Okay, so today we were supposed to review the Nasdaq Ghost robot, which is the platinum version, but something's changed because we have found something that's much more interesting than the Nasdaq Ghost robot. Okay, and just to give you the name, it's called the Gold Catcher. One of the best, if not the best, I would say it has a power to become the best if the person of the strategy continues modifying it by the day or by the year. Okay, so basically what I wanted to do is basically change that, and I wanted to speak about something that's much more interesting than just basically something that has more exposure. Okay, and that we know because everyone knows Nasdaq Ghost as a person who designs his own robots. Okay, so let's speak about the problems that we had, or not the problems that we have, the problems that we do have with robots in today's day and age. Number one is that robots are basically focusing on two conditions. One of these conditions are called moving averages, where price would actually cross one another. Okay, so if a moving average crosses another moving average, we expect it to sell, and if it's going for an uptrend, we're expecting price to go for a buy. So it's basically us just saying that that is where the signal should come for the robot to take a buy and a sell trade. Then another one is pending orders, right? And pending orders works like this. If market structure breaks what has happened like this, we're expecting price to buy, or we're expecting price to sell. Okay, so that's basically with a sell limit, a buy limit, a buy stop, and a sell stop. So if price comes over here for a sell stop, we are saying that price should continue selling. If price goes to the upside, we are saying if price breaks that, we are going for a buy. And then if we're looking at sell limit and buy limit, if we're saying that this is the limit for a sell, we're expecting price to buy, so we put a sell limit. And if price gets there, we are saying that if price gets to that limit, we want it to sell. Okay, so what is the problem with automating those? Is that they don't have any structure. They don't know what is going on. They are just basically taking trades on the conditions that we are saying. If price continues to break these levels, we want them to take buys, and if they continue to break those levels, we are expecting price to sell. So a detailed comparison of that could be done if you just use the robots that you currently have, and you can see that there is a lot of things that still needs to be changed. Okay, so I'm looking at that, and I was saying to the community the other day is that a robot is not that simple to design. And why do I say so? Because there's three factors that I've been looking at, and I said that the future of forex is still very far from becoming an autopilot. Okay, so when I said that, I actually meant it. And why did I mean it? Because let's look at why I say so. So number one is that currencies has different governments, right? We need to look at that as one of the key aspects. If I had to make an example of South Africa, our president or our party, that's the ruling party, is ANC. And we know that the problems in South Africa is that we have shortage of electricity, so shortage of water, our roads are not being tarred. So all these problems play out, and obviously inflation occurs and prices move up, right? So what happens to a robot that doesn't know all that intelligence of what's going on in South Africa? The problem is that inflation has occurred, prices might drop, prices might move up, and the conditions of the robot is just to continue using the buy stop, the sell stop, using the moving averages for crossing and so forth, right? That's one of the problems that we are facing, that different currencies have different governments and different countries have different problems. Then another one we should look at is that the robot doesn't basically know the market structure, okay? And how I know that is that if we're using a moving average, it's basically just going to tell it to sell if the crossing happened, or if the crossing of a buy happens, it should just look for the crossing condition and then take a trade, right? So a structure is basically this. Where is the trend going, right? If the trend is going for an uptrend, then the robot should definitely take on which side of the market? The buy side of the market, right? So if a crossing happens here for a buy, it should take a buy. If a sell cross happens, it should ignore it. And then if a buy cross happens again, we want it to buy, right? So these conditions can only be met if the robot knows the market structure. And that's one thing they don't have, which is market structure. So the last one is basically emotions, right? We as humans, we have emotions, and that can determine what goes on in the markets, right? If the president decides today he wants to close down or he wants to go to war with another country, that drops in price. And now our conditions on our side is that if price continues to do this, the robot should do this, and then we could actually blow our accounts because the market is still maybe in a buy trend and it's still looking for the take profit, and now the stop loss is running out and basically we blow our accounts. So that's one of the things that it doesn't have. And how you can do this is looking at a detailed comparison of what's going on around the world. And one of these are Tesla. Just an example of it is Tesla, that is an electronic company that designs electronical cars. And with these cars, they are trying to make them drive on autopilot, right? Which to make self-driving. And with self-driving, there's a lot of problems that Tesla is facing currently with trying to improve how the self-driving happens, right? And how do you know that? It's because these cars, they follow what instruction has been given to them. So from point A to point B, they would drive there. So to make an example of that, from Memphis, Tennessee to Atlanta, Georgia, the car would drive to Atlanta, Georgia, but on its way, it does face obstacles. Like the human behavior, like I said, humans would tend to slow down as a caution to the car in front of it. But Tesla doesn't have that because it's focused on where it should be going, right? So what does the person behind the wheel have to do? He has to take the caution for what is going on in front of him, right? So if there's a car in front of him, Tesla will continue speeding up. So he would have to switch the car off of self-driving mode and he would have to drive, right? And when he then eventually, if it has a nice distance between itself and another car, then Tesla can continue doing that. Or it could have turned to the left lane and continued driving. But the problem is, like I said to you, is that it's focused on where it's supposed to be going, right? So, and then another feature that it doesn't have is that basically when you get to a traffic light, if the traffic light is red, we know that you should stop. And if the traffic light is orange, it should give you a caution of slowing down. And if it's green, it should go. But normally Tesla, if you put it in autopilot, it will just continue going, skipping traffic lights and so forth. That can create an accident, right? And so like I said, that robots are still very far from being improved in the future, and that will come as time goes on. Okay, the same should be said about forex. So most of you are asking, why did I choose this over Nasdaq Ghost Robot? Number one, this robot doesn't have that much exposure. If it had that much exposure, it would have been one of the top rated robots of our time, of our decade, right? Because so far robots of today's age is just blowing accounts. Okay, because of the conditions of repainting and a lot of new things that there's new features that Meta Quotes has given people, and that has become a problem. Now with this robot, it was designed on the basis of the martingale strategy. If you don't know the martingale, I would say go and do research so that you know basically what conditions are needed for it to take a trade on each side. Okay, let's not forget to give credit to the community for actually exposing this robot and saying this robot is a good robot. And the guy's name is here. Let me just give you some of the results he has made from using this robot. And so basically that's the guy. Okay, so let's get into the settings. Unfortunately, I won't be back testing the robot. If you have time, you can back test it. And how you back test on MetaTrader 4 is basically just go to view. Once you add view, go to strategy tester. You can open it up. It will give you instructions to follow. The robot that you are trying to test out, which currency pair you want to use it on, and so forth. Okay, so Gold Catcher, let's go into it. So I'm going to use version 2 of Gold Catcher, and the first thing I need to highlight before I actually put this on is your auto trading should be green. Okay, then go to the robot, drag it over. So the first thing I want to highlight of this robot, it's focused on one chart. Okay, it's focused on one pair, and that's what most of successful traders will tell you when you start trading. Focus on one pair. Okay, and this robot is focusing mainly on gold, so it tells you that there is something of importance happening here. Someone is following the rules of what people in the past or people in the future has told him, and that's to focus on one pair. Okay, and I've been speaking a lot about robots in today's day and age, is that a lot of us are taking old robots and we're trying to improvise them into today's day and age. And the problem is, like I said, governments control a lot about what happens in markets. Okay, they control the bigger scale of what goes on. Famous people do as well. If we make an example of Bitcoin, look at Elon Musk, who has just put a broken heart on Twitter, and the whole frenzy happened where a lot of people took out their investments in Bitcoin, and we saw Bitcoin fall. So there's a lot of things that could happen, and with outdated robots, they wouldn't know that something just happened, you know? And so what I like here is it's a brand new robot. You can say it was found in 2019, and like the guy saying that this one was created in 2020. I don't know if there's a version 3, but if a version 3 is out, it would be much more impactful because it has new conditions for the day and age. Okay, then what I also like is that it's telling you that the minimum deposit is $1,000. So it's telling you from the get-go that you need to deposit $1,000. And then what I also like is that he has implemented risk management on your side for you, which is 0.01 lot for the 1,000. Okay, so that means if you want to put 0.2, it's up to you how you'd risk. But if you wanted to put 0.02, you would need an account of $2,000. Okay, then the time frame is also perfect, because the time frame that he's using is between the higher time frames, and there's no market noise between the 30-minute and the 1 hour. Market noise is basically the smaller time frames that has no market structure, that basically if there's a buy signal, you take the buy signal, you close. With these ones, they tend to have more precision on the trend. They know where is the buy signal coming, where is the sell signal coming, and what conditions needs to be met for it to continue using that trend. Okay, and then recommended pair, most of you know now, it's gold, so you're going to focus on XAU USD. And then in closing, he's telling you don't be greedy, trade with your own risk. So he's telling you not to be greedy, and because you're seeing profits, you're getting too comfortable, and now you're trying new tricks with the system. Okay, so let's go to common. In common, there's not a lot of things to talk about, but what you would like to do is leave it on long and short. Long and short means long means buy and short means sell. Okay, and then enable alerts. If you feel like you want to know when is the robot taking a sell, it will tell you, look, I took a sell at this price. You can add that onto your chart. For me, I don't like really knowing what's going on, because I like to keep things simple so that I don't have to continuously look at my chart and worry about what's going on. And then allow live trading. Why are we allowing this? Because it's a robot and it needs to meet conditions, and it also needs to put its own stuff there so that it can trade for you on autopilot. Okay, then safety. In your safety, like I said, if you want to know all these things, you'll need to watch older videos so that you understand what is going on when you're allowing DLL imports. Allowing DLL imports is basically, let me rather just explain it here to you. When you allow DLL imports, it's going to basically customize the DLL imports from MetaTrader itself. Okay, so that's basically stuff that MetaTrader doesn't have. So you guys know they have moving averages, they have oscillators, they have volumes such as volume 1 balance volume, money flow index, accumulation distribution, your Bill Williams, and there's a lot of other indicators. So when you allow DLL imports, it's basically you saying, I have customized the robot and I want it to work on the new indicators I have put in order for this robot to run. Okay, so it will allow the DLL imports to be customized by you. Okay, then when you allow import of external experts, so that explains itself. Okay, so you allowing something that you have imported so that it can find the foreign external experts that you are trying to use on your chart. Okay, and then allow modification of signals. Allowing modification of signals is basically just to enable alerts. Okay, so when your trading says buy, it will pop up and say, look, there's a buy signal, there's a sell signal. So you're allowing modification of signal settings. So that's all it does. So it's a customized thing that you can do. Okay, so to go through this, we're going to do it very shortly. Basically the name of the EA, you guys know, it's Gold Catcher, license 2. So the nice thing here is that the guy never actually installed licensing. So licensing is that there's conditions that needs to be met for the licensing to work. Okay, and then FF call news filter settings. So news filter settings, to explain it to you, is fundamentals of the currency pair. Okay, remember with XAU, that's gold, you are still comparing it to the United States dollar. So he noticed that when the news comes out, price will actually be much more volatile. Okay, so that's a nice thing for you. Then use FF call. So if you put that to true, it will tell you exactly that there is news and it won't trade. Okay, so that's something nice as well. And then minutes before the news, so if you're saying 30 minutes before the news you don't want to trade, it's going to not trade between the news times. Okay, if you put this as false, it will continue trading and find conditions when the news is on. Okay, so that's really up to you. If you don't want to change the settings, you're allowed to not change it. If you want to, you can. So here we're including the high. What is the high? It's the high of the day, and then the mid is your range, so it can find between the market structures if it's in a range, and so forth. If you want to include the low, you can include the lows of the day. It's also important that you do that. Include speaks. This robot doesn't have a speaking function, but if you would like the robot to speak, you can do that, and then just go on Google and record some small script and add it to the robot. Okay. Lot size, most of you know, 0.01 is the minimum. If you'd like to know, go up to 10%. 10% of 1,000 is 0.10. Okay, it's very simple. Multiplier means if the robot took one trade now and it made profit, should it take double the trades? Or if it has hit the loss, should it take double the trades, or should it just continue trading on one? Okay, so very simple as well. Stop loss, I would say leave at 4,000 points. 4,000 points is basically like 40,000 pips, not 40,000, 40 pips. Okay, so 40 pips, and then your take profit is 250. So it's very short. So if it immediately goes up, the points would be calculated and you immediately in profit, it will close. And then use trailing stop, leave that as true, because when you go in profit, you don't want to actually leave it to continue and then price reverses and then you are in losses. So leave trading stop on. Trail stop start, so you're saying after 7 pips you want price to take the trail stop, and when it stops it should be at 60 points, which is 6 pips. Okay, Equity for lot, let's not focus on that much. Max trade, so you're saying per trade or the maximum trades it can take is 10. Okay, and then lot decimal, let's not focus on that. And then info trade, so basically when it does give you a trade, it will tell you exactly what it's doing. It took the trade on 30 minutes and 1 hour, and the pair it has taken a trade on. Okay, so once you're done there, just click OK, and the robot will start running. As you can see on the right hand side, I have the smiley face. Okay, so this robot is very good. We have went through everything. What I want you to do now is take whatever we have sent you and basically turn it into your way of autopilot trading on gold. Okay, that's it from me, Montivino Valentine from Pride FX.